You may think your strategies need to appeal to most people, but the reality is you market to one person, your perfect customer, and that customer has a unique personality. My favorite tool for uncovering that personality is the Enneagram. Today, I'll be talking about your customer and the Enneagram. If you've never heard of the Enneagram, don't worry, I'll explain exactly what that is in a moment. But first, I want to talk to you about your customer. I intentionally say your customer as in singular. A common misconception in marketing is that your strategies need to appeal to most people. However, the reality is you want to market to one person, your perfect customer, the most ideal person who would benefit the most from your product or service. The reality is, no matter how much we want to help every person in the world, nothing is for everyone. Or, as we're prone to saying in the marketing world, when you market to everyone, you relate with no one. When making marketing decisions, you want to create messaging that is tailored for your customer. You want to find photography that would attract their eye or a graphic color palette that is pleasing to them. You're saying to that customer, this is for you. You'll like this. They will be naturally drawn to you when you select marketing specifically for them. The messaging is particularly important. You want to find out what their specific pain points are so you can help solve them. You have the Tylenol for their specific headache. However, what can go wrong is when we as marketers start talking about pain relief for sore muscles when what they have is a headache. Our product will relieve both, but if we don't address their specific kind of pain, the customer will hesitate to buy. Now, Tylenol for a headache is a very simplistic example. What we've found is that the more you know about your ideal customer, the better you can serve him or her. This is often called an ideal customer avatar, an ICA, or a buyer persona. A great exercise is creating a profile for your ideal customer. This goes beyond the usual demographics of female between the ages of 35 and 55 at a certain education or income level. Your ideal customer profile includes what blogs your customers like to read, where she shops, and even aspects of her personality like avoids conflict or compares prices at several stores before purchasing. Digging deeper into your ideal customer's personality has proven a goldmine for marketing insights, and one tool in particular has helped me above all: the Enneagram. The Enneagram is a personality typing system, but whenever I say that, it sounds lame and very insufficient. This is an ancient knowledge system that was applied to modern day psychology to create a matrix of insight into our personalities that I will tell you is eerily accurate. Now, I have tried all the personality typing systems, and all of them have given me some insight into myself. But the Enneagram is the only one that makes me feel truly seen and known. I mean, it gets me. It gets me on a level that I didn't even understand until learning about it. It started out as a personal journey of self discovery, but I soon found that I was using it every day when crafting marketing messages and choosing strategies. The Enneagram is such a powerful tool that I decided to become a certified Enneagram coach to expand my knowledge and be able to help others learn from it too. One main motivator for me starting this show was to begin to explore this concept further. How can we use the wisdom of the Enneagram and how can it be applied to your marketing and give you insights into your ideal customer? Do different personality types prefer specific social media platforms? If I know my ICA is an Enneagram Type 3, how can I better serve them on social media? What drives them crazy and what would draw them to my profile? These are questions that have been hounding me, and I'd love to explore them on further episodes. I'll be interviewing people of different Enneagram types and asking them about their social media habits, their likes and dislikes. I can't wait to see what patterns form and what surprises me. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm so excited to start exploring. Now, if you are new to the Enneagram, there are 9 different personality types. They are referred to by their numbers. However, the numbers are value neutral and merely serve as a naming device to remember them by. So you'll hear people say, I'm a type 1, I'm a type 2, all the way through 9. People have also given them labels as nicknames, and those labels change and vary. So I'll give you some examples in the descriptions that are to follow, but don't latch onto those and only call them those. Those are just kind of nicknames to help you remember. I will give a brief overview of each personality type. The descriptions that I give are from an excellent resource called the Enneagram Institute. You can find even more information on each type at the enneagraminstitute.com. I'll also add some personal insights of my own about each type. And again, I have not explored or talked to actual other Enneagram types about these observations. They're kind of just my educated guesses at this point that we will figure out as we interview these people. So on to the descriptions. Type 1. Ones are sometimes called the reformers or perfectionists. Ones are conscientious and ethical with a strong sense of right and wrong. They are teachers, crusaders, and advocates for change, always striving to improve things, but afraid of making a mistake. Well organized, orderly, and fastidious. They try to maintain high standards, but can slip into being critical and perfectionistic. They typically have problems with resentment and impatience. At their best, ones are wise, discerning, realistic, and noble, can be morally heroic. I personally will out myself right now as an Enneagram 1. And I can say for a fact, when it comes to social media, I am drawn to the more streamlined platforms without a bunch of advertising all over the place, like Instagram. And I appreciate a thoughtfully designed grid. I'm drawn also to the funny memes that point out our human flaws so I can just let loose and laugh about things that frustrate me or even laugh at myself for being so anal retentive in some ways. That is the type 1. Type 2. 2s are called the helpers or advisors. 2s are empathetic, sincere, and warm-hearted. They are friendly, generous, and self-sacrificing, but can also be sentimental, flattering, and people-pleasing. They are well-meaning and driven to be close to others, but can slip into doing things for others in order to be needed. They love to be needed. They need to be needed. They typically have problems with possessiveness and with acknowledging their own needs. At their best, 2s are unselfish and altruistic. They have unconditional love for others. 2s are lovely and wonderful people. I'm willing to bet 2s are your biggest cheerleaders in the comments and will sign up for all of your free downloads to support you. Moving on to type 3. 3s are sometimes called the achievers or performers. 3s are self-assured, attractive, and charming, ambitious, competitive, and energetic. They can also be status conscious and highly driven for achievement. They are diplomatic and poised, but can also be overly concerned with their image and what others think of them. They typically have problems with workaholism and competitiveness. At their best, 3s are self-accepting, authentic, and everything they seem to be. Role models who inspire others. The 3s are typically our hustlers, and if you don't give them value up front and quickly, they will move on. They'll also be impressed, I think, if you put achievements in your bio profile because they are really attracted to other successful achievers and want to emulate themselves after them. Type 4. Fours are sometimes called the romantics or individualists. Fours are self-aware, sensitive, and reserved. They're emotionally honest, creative, and personal, but can also be moody and self-conscious. Withholding themselves from others due to feeling vulnerable and defective, they can also feel disdainful and exempt from ordinary ways of living. They typically have problems with melancholy, self-indulgence, and self-pity. At their best, fours are inspired and highly creative. They are able to renew themselves and transform their experiences. Many authors and writers are type fours. They're often classified as creatives. And as a social media manager personally for Hope Writers, I have firsthand experience serving our type fours. They are our feelers and want all the feels and vulnerability from you online. They want to see that you feel things deeply and understand that they feel things deeply and the struggles that they experience. But it better be authentic. They can sniff a faker a mile away and will disregard you if they sense that. Type 5s. Fives are sometimes called the investigators or observers. Fives are alert, insightful, and curious. They are able to concentrate and focus on developing complex ideas and skills. Independent, innovative, and inventive, they can also become preoccupied with their thoughts and imaginary constructs. They become detached, yet high-strung and intense. They typically have problems with eccentricity, nihilism, and isolation. At their best, fives are visionary pioneers and often ahead of their time and able to see the world in an entirely new way. Fives want you to give them the facts and data to support your statements. So in your social media post, show them the proof of why your service will work for them, and they will likely get on board if you give them the facts. They are often very private people as well, even online. So they are much more likely to click your link in bio and give you an email address to download your lead magnet, for example, rather than hit you up in your DMs and request it personally. Type 6. Sixes are sometimes called the loyalist or guardians, the committed, security-oriented type. Sixes are reliable, hardworking, responsible, and trustworthy. Excellent troubleshooters, they foresee problems and foster cooperation, but can also become defensive, evasive, and anxious, running on stress while complaining about it. They can be cautious and indecisive, but also reactive, defiant, and rebellious. They typically have problems with self-doubt and suspicion. At their best, sixes are internally stable and self-reliant, courageously championing themselves and others. My personal take is that it's hard for sixes to make decisions, so it's immensely helpful to offer one-on-one discovery calls to help them find a service that's right for them versus making them choose from a list of offerings. It won't be often that they'll just read something and be able to make a decision off a very short amount of information. Type 7. Sevens are sometimes called the optimist or enthusiasts. Sevens are extroverted, optimistic, versatile, and spontaneous. Playful, highly spirited, and practical. They can also misapply their many talents, becoming overextended, scattered, and undisciplined. They constantly seek new and exciting experiences, but can be distracted and exhausted by staying on the go. They typically have problems with impatience and impulsiveness. At their best, sevens focus their talents on worthwhile goals, becoming appreciative, joyous, and satisfies. Sevens are up for anything as long as it's fun. So online, they love live video events, anything that they can participate in the moment, and will be the first to volunteer to spontaneously go on camera to ask their questions. That is my guess when it comes to Enneagram 7s. Type 8. 8s are sometimes called the challengers or protectors. 8s are self-confident, strong, and assertive, protective, resourceful, straight-talking, and decisive, but also can be egotistic and domineering. 8s feel they must control their environment, especially people, sometimes becoming confrontational and intimidating. 8s typically have problems with their tempers and with allowing themselves to be vulnerable. At their best, 8s are self-mastering. They use their strength to improve others' lives, becoming heroic, magnanimous, and inspiring. My guesses for 8s online is that 8s will never back down from a fight. So platforms like Twitter, where strong opinions are encouraged and applauded, are perfect for them. Type 9s. 9s are sometimes called the peacemakers or mediators. 9s are accepting, trusting, and stable. They are usually creative, optimistic, and supportive, but can also be too willing to go along with others to keep the peace. They want everything to go smoothly and be without conflict, but they can also tend to be complacent, simplifying problems, and minimizing anything upsetting. They typically have problems with inertia and stubbornness. At their best, 9s are indomitable and all-embracing. They're able to bring people together and heal conflicts. Personally, I know that 9s are wonderful and gentle people. They love vegging out to a great scroll on social media, so they most likely will be dedicated likers and commenters on all your social media posts. However, they shy away from being assertive, so requesting them to take a stand on an issue or constantly asking them to repost things may not be an effective tactic for them. All right. Having reviewed all 9 types of the Enneagram personalities, can you already see how the insights you can gain for your marketing will just catapult it into another level of your ideal customer feeling so seen and heard and appreciated, and that somehow you know exactly what they're thinking? You got into their brains and told them things they didn't even know about themselves. Oh, I'm so excited to explore this topic. Stick around as we dig deeper into each of these types on future episodes. I cannot wait to get started.